the 5 learning triangles. After so far we've been through the chapter, we're now going to be talking about them. And I'm going to go over each one in more depth. However, at this point, I'll just give you a surface overview, and we'll also show up a graphic so you can see it. The first one is time spent. This is the amount of time spent in becoming aware versus becoming knowledgeable. And you see the triangle in this case has a very wide band at the bottom and a very narrow band at the top, point at the top. What it meant was that the time you spend a lot of time becoming aware, and you spend very minimal amount of time relative to focusing on one area. Then you've got the effort needed, and the triangle turns upside down. Now, to become aware is very easy to do. To become knowledgeable takes a tremendous amount of effort. So that's why it's inverted. The number of individuals who have the awareness versus the knowledge. Well, there's a lot of people who are aware where in any industry, in any sector, you can take it. And then it narrows up. There's a few group of people who really understand the material to the degree at the highest level. The integration needed is the next one, and the integration, again, it takes very little information or integration to become aware, but it takes a lot of energy and effort to become integrated, to pull all the information together, to understand it. Those are the times you spend mulling over something for hours and hours or days or years, trying to figure out how to make something work or to move something forward. And the last one we have is usable information. Now, this is a kind of tricky one. There is usable information in everything. However, if you want to become knowledgeable, the usable information varies as compared to the massive amount of information that's out there, and it becomes up to the pinnacle. Now, in the development of this, I had to make a conscious choice. It's not in the book. There's a lot that we couldn't put in the book because of timing, and also because I was warned if I put in too much more, I would be in trouble, and it's already big enough. In this one section, what I tried to differentiate is the difference between the 4 levels of awareness, the 2 levels of awareness and 2 levels of knowledge. And in doing so, I looked at the models that people include wisdom as the top level of understanding. And you know, I don't think in my life but a handful of times I've said that person's wise. Yet I've said many times, well, that person's an expert at that, really knows what they're talking about. And I opted not to use the wisdom reference because I don't think it's usable. I don't think we sit in an office, that's a wise person. I think we look for people who have knowledge and have converted it into something and they become an expert. So the areas that we've added into the book are awareness, which has knowledge and to advance, or knowledge intermediate. Then we have advanced and expert. And so let me define each one of them, give you an example, and I think then you'll understand why I use that terminology. And I think it's more appropriate because you can use it every day. Again, you're not going to use the word wisdom that often. A novice is when a person is just aware of the subject. They understand a few things. And let me give you, you're going to start to play tennis. And the first thing you're taught about is the court and where it is, and you've seen people play, and you've got all this little information. Can't do anything with it. That's a novice. Very basic fundamental understanding of what's going on. If you want to become more skilled, you become an intermediate, and this person applies some of the subject matter to other subject matters, starts to integrate a little bit of this, and they can do some basics. They can hit a ball over the net, they can participate in a volley, they are able to play some. It's not a very deep level, yet there are a lot of people who are intermediate players. If we then move to the advanced level, well, this person has been able to connect the dots. They're able to play a game. There's a bit of strategy that's entered into the game. There are some dynamics because they're controlling the shots. This person has become more skilled. Now, what's an expert? Think about it for a second. You don't call them wise, call them an expert. An expert is at the peak of their knowledge. They understand how to play, what to do. They are precise in the way in which they use their tools. Now, you could probably vary this in taking the tennis example. Let's continue with that. The tennis person gets out, can put the ball where they'd like, can do all sorts of moves, is able to serve, volley, hit in every different position fairly well, and this person is able to play the game. Now, the challenge becomes we can have an expert at our club, or we can have experts in the world. And I think that the term is all relative, and it works for the situation you're in. So if you were going to say, we were going to do some videography, and I would put myself in the category of a novice. Sometimes an intermediate. I used to do a lot of camera work, but I would say I'm a novice. Veronica, who's been working, she volleys between intermediate and advanced in certain areas. And then Nick is, today in our environment, he's our expert. Yet if we were to take Nick and say, where does he stand in the whole realm of videography, he would probably say to you, oh, there's some people out there who just, I mean, I would love to have lessons from them. I'd love to learn what they know. And that experience, he would feel he would be moved down to an intermediate or a novice person in that skill set. So he's smiling right now behind the camera. The thing is that we all have levels of accomplishment. And what I'm hoping that you get here is an ability to transfer this to your work environment or your play environment, wherever you're planning to use Pay to Think, and to say to yourself, okay, first of all, where do I sit? Am I the person who's made some progress in categories? And second, I now have an understanding that if I'm really going to be tying the other pieces together of the other videos, if I'm really going to be an expert at this, I have to have in-depth knowledge that comes from, for example, learning a language. And that could take years to develop and a tremendous amount of time. So let's move on to the next series of breaking each one of these down into something a little bit more usable and a little bit more defined for you.